Yeah, well, Joshua was always in the plans after Gervonta, and we just started talking to a bunch of different camps. Tommy Fury was scared per usual, wanted more time. Ryan Garcia was scared. Terrence Crawford said yes, but wanted to do it later next year. I was like, let's get a fight in right now. Anthony Joshua said yes. He was ready in December. Let's run it.
I'm gonna break his face. I'm gonna break his body up. I'm gonna stomp all over him. That's my mentality, right? That's a fighter's mentality. And I know what's in my heart. I know what's in my mind. And I'm here to compete. I'm here to prove myself that I'm the better fighter. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'll do that until I finish fighting, no matter who it is. The minute the first bell goes, it's just as dangerous as the 12th round. You know what I mean? So I've got to just stay focused and switched on for the duration of the fight. So it doesn't really matter how long it goes for. I've just got to be switched on for as long as it lasts.
Do you think if you don't knock him out, that's considered a loss for you? Win or lose, if you don't knock him out, do you think that's a loss for you?
Are you asking for me, or are you asking for you?
Well, both, but in your opinion, if you go 8 rounds and win a decision against a guy who's only had 13 pro fights,
No. It's not that. That's what I'm saying. That's for you. Are you asking for me, or are you asking from your perspective? Yours.
I mean, from your perspective.
From mine?
Yeah, is it a win for you if you just beat him,
No.
or do you need to knock him out?
I need to knock him out. Okay, cool. For me personally, I'm very durable. I'm going to come forward and I'm going to impose myself. I'm going to land heavy punches, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to expose him to certain tricks in boxing that he may not have seen yet, and I'm going to bring him to another school of boxing that I don't think he's been exposed to yet. So there's a few tricks I have up my sleeve to show Jake December 19th.
Yeah, quick, fast, great footwork, big chin, take shots, big heart, lion-hearted, sneaky knockout punches coming. Lots of great work to the body. People underestimate my jab. So, yeah, and I think he says I haven't seen those tricks, but I'm in there with champions, you know, sparring Shakur, all these people bringing in world champions. So he's got to be ready, and I know he will be, and that's what I like. For sure, neck and neck with Tyson and Buster, right up there. Biggest stage. This will probably be the second most viewed fight in the history of boxing behind me and Tyson, and I'm gonna go in there and win and shock the world.
And Anthony, if you win, what does that say?
Massive, big news. Big news. That's why I wanted to take this fight, is because I knew the opportunity that it presented in the build-up and the aftermath of a victory as well. So it's a great opportunity for me to announce myself as a dominant figure once again, as I did with Francis Ngannou. Different fighters, but that same mentality, go in there and showcase what you can do.
Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua just wrapped up a fiery press conference ahead of their highly anticipated showdown. Meanwhile, Frank Warren didn't hold back when giving his thoughts. He warned that if Anthony Joshua lands a clean shot, the outcome will be the same as it is for most of Joshua's opponents, because AJ is simply the bigger, stronger man with legitimate knockout power. Warren pointed out that nobody really knows how well Jake Paul can absorb a punch at this level, but if Joshua connects, he believes Jake will go down.
Do I see it going one way? Well, if AJ, listen, I don't know if he takes a shot or not, but he's a bigger man. AJ's got a lot of power. If he catches him, he catches most people. He'd knock him over. That's really it, and that's why we're going as a big favourite.
David Benavidez said it's definitely surprising to see Jake Paul go from calling out Gervonta Davis to suddenly targeting a fight with Anthony Joshua. Still, he gave Jake a lot of credit, saying it shows Jake wants to make a major statement and prove to the boxing world that he's a real fighter willing to take on anything.
Yeah, it's a surprise, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's crazy that you go from Gervonta Davis to Anthony Joshua, but big respects to Jake Paul. I feel like he just wants to make a big statement, and he wants to show the boxing world that he is a real boxer and that he's prepared for anything. So you can't hate on that. All I could do is respect that, you know what I mean? And so it's going to be a great event. They're going to do great numbers, and I'm looking forward to seeing that fight.
Like a lot of people in boxing are expecting quite a demolition job from Anthony Joshua. Are you kind of reading along the same lines?
I think I don't want to say that, you know, because I've seen Jake Paul. You know, he's a great guy. You know, we'll let them do what they got to do.
Ronnie Shields also mentioned that Anthony Joshua is getting closer to the final stages of his career. So if Jake Paul is truly supposed to be a real test, then Joshua simply needs the right motivation, because fighters always look for something that pushes them to rise to the occasion.
Well, look, I mean, look, Joshua is basically on the end of his career, and look, you know, if this is a challenge for him, then he has to get up for it. And you know, fighters need a challenge to get up for. And apparently Jake Paul is that guy right now. So why not? You know, at least Jake Paul is not fighting a lightweight. You know, at least he's finally stepped up to say, hey, I want to fight a real heavyweight. So, you know, he putting a lot of stipulations in the contract. But, you know, if Joshua is good with it, weighing I think 245 pounds or whatever, you know, if he's good with that, then look, Joshua is a hard worker. So, and I just think that if you know, Joshua has to get himself in great shape, and which I know he will be, and I don't see no problems with him beating or even stopping Jake Paul.
Carl Fruck argued that Anthony Joshua is just looking for one last big payday, saying that ever since Daniel Dubois stopped him, Joshua has never fully restored his confidence or regained the mental sharpness he once had.
What else have we got to consider? Is AJ cashing out? Well, I did say a year ago when he got splattered by Daniel Dubois that he's finished now. He won't get that confidence back. He's not had any confidence, you know, in his head. No belief for a long time. And I don't think he can get back to world level. There's a couple of new young guns now coming up and coming through. It's like a changing of the guard. And when Usyk retires, I don't know what Daniel Dubois is going to do next, but what Daniel Dubois did to him, then he went on and lost to Usyk. But there's a few new heavyweights coming through, Moses Atama, just to mention one. And you wouldn't start putting AJ in with any of these young up-and-comers that can punch hard, because I just don't think he's got the chance, because the ambition and the desire is going to be gone. So AJ most definitely is cashing out, and you can't fault him. Fair play to him. He's going to get a massive payday, maximise his exit route by fighting fake Paul.
Jose Benavidez warned fans not to overlook Jake Paul, pointing out that the fight carries real danger for Paul and could still produce an unexpected outcome.
No, don't count him out. You know, I think that's a very dangerous fight for Jake Paul. But at the end of the day, you know, we could have a big upset, you know. But I think that AJ is too much for Jake Paul at this point, and he's bigger than Jake Paul, in my opinion.
You think it's competitive? A lot of people are saying if AJ doesn't get him out of there in 2 rounds, it'll be a huge embarrassment.
I don't think that's not the case, that he's gonna get Jake Paul. At the end of the day, Jake Paul has been training hard too, and you know, he's a pretty good fighter. I don't think he would take him out in 2-3 rounds. I think maybe in the later rounds, or it might go to decision, you know, but I don't think that Jake Paul can take AJ out. I mean, or AJ could take Jake Paul. Maybe, you know, but I don't know. It's just going to be an exciting fight. I think I want to see that fight, to be honest with you.
Brendan Schaub gave Jake Paul major credit, highlighting how impressive it is that someone went from kids' TV to internet stardom and then into boxing anyone, anytime, for massive paydays, calling that kind of fearlessness truly noteworthy.
Well, kudos to Jake Paul. The cojones this motherfucker has, from a Disney kid to YouTube to he can fight anyone, get views, and make fucking money. This crazy wild boy sends out the bat signal, the British bat signal for Anthony motherfucking Joshua. You know how crazy that is? I will say this. I don't think any of Jake Paul's fights are fixed in any capacity. At all. Not even close. I don't get down that narrative. I will say this though. My spidey senses will go off if Anthony Joshua doesn't absolutely mop the floor with him.
Eddie Hearn described the matchup as pretty straightforward, noting that a large part of the audience is tuning in specifically to see Anthony Joshua take on Jake Paul and potentially remove him from the sport entirely.
We think the fight is very straightforward. You know, there's a lot of people that are very excited about the thought of Anthony Joshua almost evaporating Jake Paul from the actual boxing world. You have to admire the front of Jake Paul and the heart. You know, he's had criticism about the level of opposition. Now he steps up to a whole new stratosphere. But, you know, for us, they made the offer, of course, financially. It was huge. We were planning potentially a little 8-round run out this year, and now the 8-round run out will be against Jake Paul. for more money than we could have ever dreamed of. So the serious stuff for us, if you heard from Turki Al-Sheikh, begins in 2026. But at the same time, this was really an offer we couldn't refuse. And it's a massive event. And as AJ said in his press release, no mercy. You know, this ain't no exhibition. This is a real heavyweight fight.